my dear viewers, hello and welcome to a new episode of our program Cairo Local Time, during which we're going to bring you the latest political, economic and also social events that are taking place in addition to our local news bulletin. And we have an interview today with a professor of mass communication, and we have also a phone with Mr. Sharif Eddemirdash, who is a professor of international relations. A short break and we'll be back with our local news bulletin. Welcome back. We start this episode of Cairo Local Time with our local news bulletin, and we started with this item. The Egyptian foreign minister's visit to Brussels has launched a new phase of strategic partnership between Egypt and the European Union, paving the way for an EU-Egypt association agreement in the upcoming period. The country's relationship with the agreement, which has been under negotiation since February in the year 2016, would frame the country's relationship with the European institutions over the next 3 years. In an official statement, Foreign Ministry spokesman Ahmed Abu Zaid said Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and his European counterparts have complied a document of each side's priorities to guide the future negotiations on the agreement. Well, we have over the phone joining us on this episode of Cairo Local Time and on Nile TV, Mr. Sharif Eddemirdash, who is a professor of international relations, to shed more light about the Foreign Minister's visit. Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
First, would like to ask you about the significance of the Foreign Minister's visit.
Well, the cooperation between the European Union and Egypt, the strategic cooperation, it has begun a long time ago, and this is a new phase in this cooperation on many scales. I mean, on economic scales, on fighting terrorism and military cooperation. So exactly this is simply a new phase of cooperation, which does exist already, and Egypt has its partnership, its economic partnership with the European Union. He has his military cooperation. He has his cooperation on fighting terrorism and on the issue of illegal immigration. All this cooperation is expected to be reinforced and sustained with more, efficient measures that should be taken within the very near future.
Yeah, of course. And how can you describe, sir, the Egyptian-European Union relations?
There are excellent terms, and even we had some, let's say, difficult times after the People Revolution in June 30th, 2013. But in any case, the European states and the European Union, they came to realize that this was a revolution led by the Egyptian people, and it was supported by the Egyptian military or the Egyptian army. So the situation, it's returning to the previous strong cooperation that existed until 2011 and 2012.
Yeah, and how can you evaluate our foreign ministry efforts in enhancing the relations, the ties between Egypt and other countries?
Our foreign
Ministry.
minister and the ministry itself, I mean, we can all watch a very serious, efforts to improve in general our relationship with all the countries in the world, not just European states, but East and West, and in Africa, in the Arab world. I mean, I see appreciable effort that is being undertaken by our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we can all watch the outcome of this, let's say, tremendous effort in the improvement of our relations with most of the countries in the world.
Okay. Well, Minister Sharif El Demirdash, the Professor of International Relations, thank you very much for joining us on Cairo Local Time that is broadcasted on Nile TV International. Cairo is set to host an international Islamic affairs conference this weekend under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Ministry of Religious Endowments and head of the country's Islamic Affairs Council, Mohammed Mukhtar Gum'a, announced that the conference will run Saturday through Monday, attended by more than 30 delegations comprised of religious leaders and representatives from Islamic institutions worldwide. Titled "The Role of Political, Religious and Media Leaders and Decision Makers in Spreading Peace in the Face of Terrorism," the conference will include 6 sessions and conclude with a declaration of recommendations as well as an international press conference. Egypt has urged Arab and Muslim countries to unite in the face of terrorism and called for purging the religious discourse of extremism. Egyptian Football Association official Assam Abdel Fattah has announced that video assistance for referees will be a reality at Egyptian League games next month. The decision comes amid the raging dispute that happened between the Zamalek and the Egyptian Football Association over a game-changing mistake by the referee during Zamalek's 0-1 loss to Maqassa in an Egyptian league game on Friday. The Zamalek's league title hopes were dealt a stunning blow with Friday's loss as they remained third in the league table with 40 points, 12 points behind leaders Ahli, who have played one game more. Video assistance for referees was tested at the Club World Cup in Japan last December. A documentary about Egypt's National Ballet Company won third prize in the documentary supported by Canal session at the Pan-African Film and Television Festival Ouagadougou last week. The footnote in ballet history, directed by Hisham Abdel Khaliq, looks at an Egyptian classical ballet company through the eyes of its first prima ballerina, Magda Saleh. The movie depicts the first national ballet school and early triumphs achieved by Egypt's first ballet company and its superstar Saleh. Her career in Egypt until the early 1990s and then in the United States of America as an academic. Dating back to 1969, the event is one of Africa's largest and most important film festivals. And now we are going with our last news in this bulletin, which reflects a new achievement for women in the International Women's Day in the field of medicine. Nancy Karim is a senior biotechnology student at the University of October Modern Science and Arts. developed a new medical technique involving nanotechnology, which targets only cancerous and mutual cells and leave normal cells undamaged. As a part of her graduation project, Karam, along with her two colleagues, Huwaida Samir and Hisham Ashraf, were selected to travel to the University of Palermo in Italy for 3 months. There, they worked on a project aiming to design a new way to treat cancer using nanotechnology. That she designed the idea, and her colleagues worked on testing it. They found that cancer cells could be treated in just 16 hours, which will work on limiting the use of chemotherapy drugs. She was invited as the only Egyptian or Arab to participate in the Young Scientists workshop on nano medicine in cancer in Paris after her project was selected from the top of 10 by Cancer Pool Grand Sud Quest Foundation. Well, with this, we come to the end of this episode of our local news bulletin. A short break, and we'll be back. Welcome back. Today we're celebrating the 106th Annual International Women's Day. Social Solidarity Minister Ghada Wali opened the stock market session in a ceremony organized by the Egyptian Exchange for the 3rd year now. Several female members of parliament and businesswomen have attended. The first International Women's Day to be officially recognized was in the year 1911, and more in the following report.
Opened the stock market session on Sunday in a ceremony organized by the Egyptian Exchange to celebrate the International Women's Day for the 3rd year in a row. Several female MPs and businesswomen attended. Accompanied by other important female figures, Wali rang the trading bell to open the session. According to the minister, the Public Authority for Social Insurance invests its money in the stock market. She said in remarks that they achieve high profits from investing the social insurance money. She added that they are happy about the stock market growth and optimistic about 2017, adding that they expect success for the merged entities, which will lead to better performance this year, celebrating the issuance of 1.5 million cards for female breadwinners who represent around 6 million Egyptian families. The minister said that they are in a highly important phase of economic reform. Such measures have a positive impact on the stock market and attract investors. She also referred to celebrating the Year of the Egyptian Women, as well as the appointment of the first woman to the position of governor. The political progress can also be seen in the percentage of women representatives in the parliament, which rose significantly to 15%, compared to the previous parliament of 2012 that only had 2%. The newly appointed director for the National Council for Women, Maya Morsi, highlighted the importance of the 2013 National Strategy for advancing the gender equality status in Egypt. According to Morsi, this plan addressed women's rights issues while being drafted instead of integrating it later on, as is usually the case. In its 2030 strategy, Egypt highlighted 12 key areas of focus, including education, social justice, economic empowerment, energy sector development, urban development, foreign policy and national security, and health, among other sectors. The strategy was the first outlined in 2014, aims to raise Egypt's global ranks in economic growth and improving citizens' equality of life by 2030. Meanwhile, there are 3 drafted bills awaiting parliamentary review on the local council management. The first was drafted in 2011, the other in 2013, and the latest was drafted in 2014. The Egyptian Center for Women's Rights, a local women's rights group, highlighted the importance of women's participation in those councils.
Well, we are joined now over the phone with Dr. Muna Adri, the member of the National Women's Council. Welcome, Dr. Muna.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day for all the Egyptian women and all over the world, women all over the world.
Thank you very much. Dr. Muna, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have called this year the Women's Year. How far this year's Women's Day is different?
Yeah, actually, this is something that we are always being proud of, actually, and we might be the Egyptians, specifically the Egyptian women. We are actually lucky having a president, having our president, His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who actually announced that this year would be the year for women. Actually, we are lucky to be actually totally supported by His Excellency. I feel very proud being an Egyptian. I feel very proud of this initiative. I'm very optimistic regarding the future for the women and the women empowerment. And I believe that this year will lead to a huge success. And we have actually a huge responsibility, being females and being women, to be trusted by His Excellency. So we have to be up to that level.
Yeah, of course. And what are the achievements you as a woman and women in general have realized in this year?
Actually, there are a set of different achievements that are very obvious. First of them is actually the parliament, which has actually had an increase in the percentage of women being members in the parliament, which is 15% percentage of increase, and I think this is a very good indication. And being 2017 being announced as the Women's Year actually is one of our major achievements as well. The National Women's Council actually is considered to be one of the achievements. Dr. Maya Morsi, she is doing a great job. Proud of being one of the members of this council.
I would like to ask you, now this year I have witnessed the nomination of an Egyptian woman as a governor. How do you see this?
I feel actually very, very happy for her, and I'm quite sure that she would be giving very excellent results, actually. And this is a very good start and a very good initiative because we all know that this is the first time that we have an Egyptian governor. And I think this is a very hard job, but I'm quite sure that she would be more than perfect, and I'm very happy for her, and I hope this will be generalized for different other political positions in the Egyptian country.
Yeah, of course. Concerning the women who became members of parliament, they joined the parliament. Now 15% of women, and before they were 2%. How do you read this? How would this act for the favor or the interest of
the opinion of the Egyptian women? So, increasing in the percentage in the parliament, this is actually reflecting the voice of the Egyptian women and their needs and their actually whether inquiries, whether objections, whether whatever. So we are half of the society. So we need to be having reflection for that.
And what are the challenges that are still facing the Egyptian women, in your opinion?
First challenge actually is number 1 and 2 and 3 is the culture, definitely. But I think this is changing nowadays, and being supported and being having the support of His Excellency, the President of Egypt. Actually, this gives a huge support for the women. But I think the culture is the main obstacle regarding the women empowerment and having her rights in the society.
How would you think, you were talking about the culture of the woman.
Yeah. The Egyptian culture.
The culture has nothing.
Not of the women, actually. The culture of the people, the Egyptians, actually.
You mean of the society?
To be accepting the women.
So, what's your opinion? I think the culture has nothing to do with education. It has, the media has a role in culturing the people and the society and making women knows her rights.
Definitely, the media plays a huge role actually regarding this issue, because the media actually is the main initiative and the main pillar for whether the people who are supporting or against actually. And plus, of course, education is a major and a crucial issue actually, because the people who are well educated, they know quite well their rights. But if they are not educated, so we can never ask them for anything actually.
Of course, Dr. Muna Qadri, the member of National Women's Council. Thank you very much for joining Nile TV and our program Cairo Local Time. In the occasion of the International Women's Day, the International Labour Organization in Cairo held a press conference. More with Abir Mitwalli.
Celebrating the International Women's Day, the International Labour Organization in Cairo held a press conference to discuss the latest developments on the ground concerning the women's rights in Egypt. The panel praised the decision by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to consider 2017 as the year of the Egyptian women. On the ground, International Women's Day sees thousands of conferences, gatherings, rallies, exhibitions, festivals, and more each year.
Today we are celebrating all over the world International Women's Day. And today we feel it's even more special because the theme for this year is Women and the Changing World of Work. And it's very important in terms of providing all women around the world, including Egypt, the full potential of what they are capable to do is also through work. So in Egypt, I think there's another special reason why this year is so important, because this year is designated as the Egypt Year of Women, designated by the president. So I think there's a real momentum to see how Egyptian women can be more and better supported to realize that potential, including through decent work for all.
Today's event was in commemoration of the International Women's Day, which is celebrated every year on the 8th of March. And this year's event for 2017 was the theme of women's place in the workplace. We used the event today, UN Women, together with the International Labour Organization of the UN, to jointly advocate in a way for a stronger involvement of women in the work environment, in the formal sector, to promote employment of women, skill development of women, but also to send out messages to men to actually to support and actively engage in the promotion of women in the Egyptian society.
On March the 8th, people around the world observed International Women's Day, a day to commemorate the struggle for women's rights and celebrate the political, social, economic, and cultural achievements of women throughout history.
Today, the International Labour Organization, together with UN Women in Egypt, are celebrating the International Women's Day. This is of utmost importance for us because today's theme is related to women at work in the world of work. This is at the core of our mandate in the ILO. We know that there has been a lot of progress achieved for women in education, for example, in the last decades, but this has unfortunately not been translated in the world of work. There are too many challenges for women in the world of work still, especially in our region. Those are challenges in quantity, the level, the proportion of women in the labor market is still very low. Only 1/4 of women are a part of the labor force, but also in the quality of the jobs women are having lack of decent employment. This is linked partly to the discrimination in the access to employment, discrimination in salaries, but also in the conditions of work more generally, like the difficulty of women to balance, and men to balance between family responsibilities and working responsibilities, which can be tackled through a variety of measures, like decent maternity protection, maternity leaves, paternity leaves, affordable child care solutions, affordable care to also elderly, which should give women more time to go to work and give them more chance in career advancement, and also give them better access to social protection. If they don't have enough access to social protection, it's because also they haven't worked enough in their lives. So their well-being when they reach the retirement age also depend on their access to decent employment.
A day to celebrate women's freedom and courage, International Women's Day stands as a reminder of how far we have come and how long we have to go.